Before we dive into the anatomy of a typical vertebra, let's begin with a quick reminder of the structure of the vertebral column. The human vertebral column consists of 33 vertebrae in total, divided into 5 regions: 7 cervical, 12 thoracic, 5 lumbar, 5 sacral, which are fused into one bone, and 4 coccygeal vertebrae, which are also usually fused. Now, not all vertebrae are the same. Some are typical, meaning they follow a standard structure, and others are atypical, meaning they have specialized features. Let's clarify which vertebrae are considered typical. The typical cervical vertebrae are C3 to C6. The typical thoracic vertebrae are T2 to T8. The typical lumbar vertebrae are L1 to L4. Now for the atypical vertebrae. C1, known as the atlas, and C2, known as the axis, are atypical because they are highly specialized to support the skull and allow head rotation. C7, also called the vertebra prominens, is considered atypical because while it is a cervical vertebra, it has features that resemble thoracic vertebrae, particularly its long, non-bifid spinous process that is easily palpable through the skin. T1 is also atypical. It has some characteristics of cervical vertebrae, like a smaller body, while still articulating with the first rib like a thoracic vertebra. T9 to T12 are atypical because they begin transitioning toward the structure of lumbar vertebrae. For example, T12 has inferior articular facets, oriented like those in the lumbar region. The sacral vertebrae are fused to form the sacrum, which supports the pelvis and transfers weight from the spine to the lower limbs. The coccygeal vertebrae, which make up the coccyx or tailbone, are small and fused, and are also atypical due to their reduced structure and lack of functional joints. Now let's explore the structure of a typical vertebra, using a mid-thoracic vertebra as a reference. Looking from posterior to anterior, we start with the spinous process, a bony projection pointing backwards. On each side of the spinous process are the transverse processes, and connecting them all is the vertebral arch, which consists of the laminae and the pedicles. Together, the vertebral arch encloses the vertebral foramen, the central hole through which the spinal cord passes. At the very front is the vertebral body, a large, solid structure designed to bear weight. Let's break these parts down further. The spinous process is a posterior projection from the vertebral arch. It's the part of the spine you can feel along your back. It serves as an attachment point for muscles and ligaments, particularly those involved in posture and movement. Additionally, it plays a protective role by shielding the spinal cord from external trauma. Moving outward, each vertebra has 2 transverse processes, one on the left and one on the right. Like the spinous process, they also act as attachment points for muscles and ligaments, and contribute to spinal stability and motion.
In the thoracic region, the transverse processes also feature costal facets, which articulate with the ribs. This is how the ribs connect to the spine and form part of the rib cage. The vertebral body is composed primarily of cancellous bone, also known as spongy bone. This structure helps to absorb shock during activities like walking, jumping, or lifting. Inside the cancellous bone is red bone marrow, which is responsible for producing red blood cells, a key component of the body's hematopoietic system. Surrounding the vertebral body is a layer of cortical bone, or compact bone. This outer shell provides strength and rigidity, helping to hold the vertebra together and prevent collapse under pressure. Connecting the vertebrae are the articular processes. The superior articular processes project upward and articulate with the inferior articular processes of the vertebra above. The facet of the superior articular process is a smooth, flat surface that is covered with hyaline cartilage. This cartilage reduces friction and allows the vertebrae to glide smoothly against one another. Together, the superior and inferior articular facets form facet joints, which help stabilize the spine while still permitting a controlled range of motion.